Hey everybody, my name's Park Hopper John.
And I'm Park Hopper Sid.
And together we are WDW Park Hoppers. Welcome to the WDW Park Hoppers podcast.
Absolutely.
So glad that you guys are here. We are recording this on Wednesday night, so we want to make sure that we remember all of our friends in southern Texas and Louisiana.
Yeah, we are thinking about you all. We are praying for you all. We ask if you are hearing this that you would do the same. Our fears are for what will actually have come by the time you're listening to this. So please know that you were being thought of ahead of time. And yeah, I cannot imagine. This is a Category 4 hurricane right now.
Right. Katrina,
if you'll remember, that just annihilated New Orleans, was only a Category 3 when it made landfall. So this is scary.
Well, hopefully by the time we get this out, there'll be something that we can put in the description below that you can maybe donate a relief fund or something that we can send our love, our thoughts, our prayers, and most importantly, some financial support to all of our friends down there. And if you'd like to find more out about us, feel free to come over to our website, which is wdwparkhoppers.com, as well as on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, all at WDW Park Hoppers. And if you do come over to YouTube, please make sure that you subscribe and share. We're trying to grow our YouTube family over there, so that would be kind of cool.
Absolutely.
And let's go ahead and get into the show, shall we? Well, hey, I wanted to ask, how'd the Disney Plus movie night go? That was this past Monday, right?
It actually went very, very well. So we changed the time a little bit for this last week because one of our people had a meeting. So, and that's kind of the fun and being, we do this virtually, so we're all sitting in our own homes. We call into a Zoom call and then we watch the movie. It's actually become this adorable joke of 1, 2, press play on 3. No, not 1, 2, 3, press play. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, press play on 3. Right. So if you want to see a group of women just giggle every week, doesn't matter how bad our week is, we get to that point and everybody cracks up.
That's right. You go 1, 2, because on 3, you lift or press play.
Exactly. It's an AV joke.
That's right. What movie did you guys watch this week?
This week we actually watched Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey. So this is the 1993 remake of the 1963 classic.
Got it.
Yes. So
Michael J. Fox,
Don Ameche, and Sally Field.
Don Ameche.
So this was actually Don Ameche's last movie.
Aww.
And he was a puppy dog. He was a golden retriever. He was fantastic. It was great.
Nice.
So if you've never read the books, if you've never seen the movies, and they're all a little bit different animals every time, but pretty much it's 2 dogs and a cat. And their family has to go travel somewhere for like a short-term assignment, and so they leave the animals with a friend. Well, then the animals get out while the friend isn't there and somebody else is watching the house, and they travel across the mountains to get back to their people.
Right.
And so
Makes sense.
It's a beautiful story of loyalty, of friendship, of growth. It was lovely. And it actually, so we have 3 dogs here in the Park Hopper family.
Right.
You've probably heard them. And at about halfway through the movie, maybe not even, I moved onto the floor and was like cuddling with them, and they were watching the movie with me. So it was very cute.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So what'd you guys think of it? What's the Disney Plus movie night review? What were your thoughts?
We loved it. I mean, it's one of those movies there are multiple points where you're like, no, I'm not crying, you're crying. Yeah, I was cutting onions last week. That was it. So it's a great movie. It's very touching. It reminds you how much you love your family, how much your animals are a part of your family.
Right.
I mean, really, it just kind of makes you want to go adopt something. I'm surprised we don't have 6 more animals right now after watching this.
Not for lack of trying.
Anybody got a dachshund or a Siamese? Bring it on.
Or a basset hound. I'll take a basset hound. So I remember watching this when I was younger, and I remember crying through a good chunk of it. Is it still super sad?
Well, it's not that it's sad. It's very touching. Even the animals. So you have the dog that's been there forever, and he belongs to the oldest child. And okay, should I say spoilers?
Spoilers. For a 30, 40-year-old movie. Yeah.
Yes.
Go for it.
How old did you just call me? You have the older dog, and he belongs to the oldest son. And then you have the cat, and he belongs to the little girl, who's the middle child. And then you have the new dog, and he's a new rescue. And that dog is used to, he's been dumped at the pound. He knows the pound. He's afraid of people in uniforms. He's very very poorly behaved. He's very misbehaved. There we go. That's what I'm going for. He likes to chase the chickens, and he's afraid of the turkey. The turkey kind of challenged him. It was great. But I think they call it, I can't remember the jokes that were in this one, because every movie they make certain things their own. There are a couple of times where the dog trips, steps in a hole, runs into a tree, whatever it was. They kept it and then had the actors ad-lib some lines. So it wasn't originally in the book, but it made it, it made it a little more, well, I don't want to say human because it was dog, but a little more
human,
personable.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And even through the course of the journey, you watch the animals become a tighter knit family. And then when, well, I don't want to give away the ending. But
don't do that.
Don't
do that. But it's a good ending.
It's a good ending.
So when
Makes you cry.
When you watch this, you are not a millennial, and you're watching it with two millennials. How did they like it? Because it's one of those.
Well, one of the millennials picked it.
It's a more modern, but it's still a classic movie. So
it is a classic movie. So this was, again, 93. So we're looking at almost 30 years ago, and that's been actually a part of the fun is we each take turns picking the movies.
Right. And
they might pick something like the Hannah Montana movie, or it wasn't even Hannah Montana.
Lizzie McGuire.
Lizzie McGuire, that was one of the ones. But then one of them picked That Darn Cat.
Cat.
Absolutely. So yeah, we've been all over the gamut.
Right. Cool.
This was a great movie. Okay, that's what happens when 100-pound bulldog gets his belly rubbed when Dad is podcasting. If you didn't hear that, it was pretty funny.
That's pretty funny.
But so yeah, it was a good movie. Love the movie. It's not as long as I remember it being.
Oh yeah.
So especially after a couple of these movies we've watched, and they've just felt so long.
Right.
That Darn Cat felt really long.
Yeah. Well, it's the older movies tend to be a little bit more I don't want to say plotting, but they tend to be a little bit more.
They take more time to get to the story.
Yeah, it's a much slower burn because the microwave mentality of current culture makes it, it's not jump cuts every 10 seconds. It's not interesting, but I mean, it was a good story. But I mean, sure that the Incredible Journey was a much better movie, and for us, it was much better paced.
Oh, well, and I mean, I've loved the book since I was a small child, right. So yeah, I actually grew up watching the 1963 movie because my mom was very into the classics.
Nice.
And then so when this one came out, my biggest draw was Michael J. Fox. Sorry. That was
fair enough.
Child of the 80s. What do you want?
So overall, everybody loved it?
Yes. Everybody loved it. Everybody pretended they didn't cry, but they cried. I think everybody went to find a pet to hug, whether or not it was theirs or not.
Nice. So what's the movie for next week?
All right. So we are going back to my I don't want to say my childhood. We are going back to the animated classic, The Little Mermaid.
Oh, wow.
So this is back.
'Cause I want more. That's my homage to Mickey's PhilharMagic.
I wanted to start singing with you, but I've actually been singing Tangled and Frozen 2 all day, so that's all I've got in my head.
You have to be watching it to get that joke, so
yes.
Make sure you watch it on YouTube or Instagram.
Or you know what? Come on Monday night. We're going to watch it as a group. If you want to join us and you want to watch on our Zoom call with us and you can see each person and, we sing along. We do, I promise. Or if you just want to join us on Facebook and chat along with us as we watch, please feel free.
All right. So we'll put a thread out like we did last week for Incredible Journey. We'll put that out there on Monday, and then you can follow along only at facebook.com/WW Parkhoppers.
I do feel kind of bad because we're going from being with all the animals to I want to be what people are.
That's right. I want to not be an animal. I want to be a person.
I want to see them dancing.
On those, what do you call them? Oh yeah,
feet.
Hello everybody. All right, I am so excited. We've all been waiting. We're all counting down. We're all asking, in what states did you get them? So down here in Florida, I got them. All right, these are my Run Disney Virtual Race Series medals, and I couldn't think of a better way to celebrate than to share it with you. So I've heard some different things. I'm gonna open them up. We'll see if everything's in here. We'll see if anything maybe fell apart in transit, but mainly just want to show them off because they're Run Disney medals. All right, pardon the big knife. This is how we do it in our house. Okay. So, all right, main box open. Little box. This is the fifth year virtual challenge. So it was, I'm gonna get these out of order. So it was the teacup, it was Space Mountain, and it was Haunted Mansion with Madame Leota. So I'm very excited to see what these look like. All right, these are gonna open from the side this time. So let's see, I'm gonna pull out just, ooh, all right. So here's Space Mountain 5K. And I've done 2 of the 3, so I guess I can unwrap 2 of them. I got a little distracted by other virtual races this year. So, ooh, very pretty, very hefty. So, very nice. There we go. 5 years running. Nice. I mean, like, that's a pretty decent size medal. That's pretty awesome. All right, so we're gonna set that one down. And then next, ooh, very excited. All right, this is the Madame Leota. And I am definitely opening this one because this is the one that I've heard the most controversy about. Because some people are having issues with the little plastic piece that goes over it. Can you hear all the crackling? And bam. Oh, very pretty. So I don't know if you can see there. So it's got plastic over it, so it looks like she's in the ball. Ooh. All right, virtual 5K Run Disney. There you go. I know it's upside down, but y'all get the idea. All right, so that's number 2. Do you care? Can I open all 3? I mean, by the time you see this, okay. Teacups! Who doesn't love the teacups? I mean, this is just classic. And the fact that this is, okay, I can't open it. This is just one of those rides that's been there that, oh, all right. Teacups, it's not as hefty as the other 2, but it is definitely worth it. It is, you can see it right there. It says virtual 5K, so it's our little teacups, 2020. Again, Run Disney. They're very, very good about making sure that you don't forget what year or who they are. Very excited about that. So when you do all 3, which I've done 2, so I still have to earn this one or whichever one was last. Yes, I know, I do. That's probably Casey. Casey is just telling me off because I didn't finish my 3rd virtual race. Some people waited to get their medals and then to run so they could, you know, get them at the end. I think that was a great idea. I think however you want to do it. It's virtual. It doesn't matter. And then when you do a challenge like this with Run Disney, you get a challenge medal. So for anybody who remembers the ticket books, I vaguely remember these when I was a kid, and then we went away from Disney for a while. I know, don't ask. But there we go, there's the challenge. So that's all the medals for this year's, and if you signed up soon enough, you got a pin. Good job, Disney. That is fantastic. All right, so here's all of them. Here we go, there's all of them all together. Can you see? There we go. Madame Leota, come around the corner there. All right. So there you go. That's what you're expecting. If you haven't gotten them yet, they are on their way. I am proof that they're on their way. Look for a big white box. I did not get the tracking like some people did, but it did come from Virtual Race Fulfillment right here in Orlando, Florida. So there we go. All right. Happy running. Enjoy. Thank you for joining me. I hope you had fun. And I can't wait to see people actually wearing these around the parks because I know you guys are going to do it because I'll do it too.
So before we move on, we definitely wanted to ask you to, if you are looking for some entertainment, looking for some other podcasters, some more Disney information, maybe you're just not getting all of the Disney fix that you are dying for every week. Please go check out our friends Kristen and Big Bubba at the Dining at Disney. I keep getting these two backwards when I'm trying to say the name. So Dining at Disney is Kristen and Big Bubba, and they are fantastic. If it is edible or drinkable on Disney property, they will know about it and they will talk about it.
Right.
And also, Kristen does another podcast with her husband Aljon called The Disney List. It goes live every Sunday night, and they just give you that great rundown of here's your top 5 of this, or your top 10 of this, or maybe these are the 5 things you should avoid.
Right.
I don't know what this week's subject is, but better check them out.
Yeah,
TheDisneyList.com.
Yeah, and diningatdisney.com.
Absolutely.
And if you'd like to support the podcast, there's 2 ways that you can do that. First,
Wait. Which podcast?
Our podcast.
Our podcast.
Our podcast at WDW Park Hoppers. There's 2 ways you can do it. The first way is to go to wdwparkhoppers.com/Amazon. And what that'll do is that'll send you directly to Amazon just like normal, except it'll let them know that you came to Amazon through our link. And everything that you purchase won't cost you a dime more, but Amazon will kick back a few pennies to us, and that helps big time. Every month we get a little bit of stipend from them, and that helps do little things like buys a couple beers, puts some microphones on us, that kind of thing. And then the second way is if you're listening to us on Anchor.fm, you can go to Anchor.fm/WDW Park Hoppers, and there's an option that you can support us with a monthly donation of 99 cents, $4.99, or $9.99 per month. And we haven't had anybody sign up for this yet, but we're
Maybe
going
this
to.
will be the week.
This will be the week. We're going to figure out a reward system. So when someone signs up, we're gonna treat it a little bit like Patreon. We're gonna give some rewards out. So that'll be kind of cool. So
all right. And should the nicest reward go to the first person to sign up?
Let's say a reward will go to the first person that signs up.
Okay.
On top of what you would normally be getting. So we'll figure that out. I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll figure that out.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we'll work on it. And so then the last thing we want to let you know is...
We've been talking to a lot of our friends, and if you hear that sound in the background, we have a live studio audience of 3 puppy dogs. So please forgive us. So as we've been talking to our cast member friends this week, and we just know that a lot of people have had extended furloughs. A few people have decided to move on from Disney because they are trying to find other positions. Even the people that have gone back to work have very limited hours, or some people have even had to take pay cuts. We just want you to know that our thoughts and our prayers are with you, and we would like you to, if you're hearing this and you're a cast member, know that you're being thought of. If you are not a cast member and you know a cast member, please reach out to them. Send them a virtual hug. Give them a real hug. Nobody's going to tell. So just let people know that you're thinking of them. I am actually still on partial hours. So we have people from my company that got furloughed this week. It's just a very rough time. So we're just asking that you remember your friends and your families, your loved ones, and your neighbors.
Right. And these are the people who are creating the magic for us. So we want to make sure that we try to make this time a little bit more magical for them. All right. So finally, what we wanted to talk about tonight was how we fell in love with Walt Disney World.
Yeah, this is sort of our Disney origin story.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever told this story on any podcast.
I don't think we have. I think we've thrown a few things out. Well, it was very hard to talk about for a little while there because of how it came about.
Yeah.
But so can I start there?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So we were actually married in spring of 2006, and 6 very, very short months later, my mother suddenly passed away. Mm-hmm. And my mother was by no means wealthy or anything like that, but she had a little bit of money stocked away. And after everything was paid for, we got a little bit of inheritance. Yeah. And so we were looking at what do we do with the inheritance? And we did a couple of things. We got some nicer bedroom furniture, and we did a few other things like that. Mm-hmm. And we put a bunch of it away.
Right.
Well, I say a bunch, but 1/5 of what somebody makes a year. I don't know. We put a little bit away.
We put a chunk.
We put a chunk away. And then, but we had a few $100 extra, and we decided we were going to do something nice, but we didn't know what.
Right.
So you talked to some friends at work.
Yeah. So I had a friend that I worked with, and he and his family moved to Florida for a couple different reasons. And one of them was for Disney.
Absolutely.
They were Disney fans from way back, and we were talking, and he's like, dude.
Well, and you say he and his family.
Yeah, he and his wife.
Yeah, so his family then was he and his wife.
Yeah, they hadn't had their kids yet. And he said, dude, if you've got a few $100 invest in something because we wanted to do something for ourselves that we knew your mom would really want us to do. And we didn't want it to be like a one-time deal. We wanted it to be something that we could enjoy. And he said, dude, you've got to buy Disney passes. Now, keep in mind, this was 2006, so it wasn't the major investment that it is now. It was a little bit less expensive. So
it was the very end of the year. Like, I think we were even coming on Christmas, maybe.
Yeah, it was towards the end of the year, and I want to say it was around the $250 per person.
It was something like that. I mean, it was not a huge investment. So we talked about it, and we looked at the pricing and everything. We decided, you know what? We're going to do this.
Try it for 1 year.
1 year.
1 year. For the amount of money that we were going to spend for 1 year. We lived near Disney. I had never really been to Disney, hardly at all. Sid had not been.
So we'd each been one time. I think I was 9 or 10, maybe a little bit younger, and we came for 3 or 4 days with my dad and stepmom.
Yeah.
And you had been
once when I was around 17, 18, and it was awful.
And it was 1 day.
It was one day. It was 1 day, and the reason it was awful is because it was some personal reasons, but it was just me and my dad, and it was right after my parents had split up, and it was just really awkward. And we went in the Magic Kingdom for a few hours, and I didn't enjoy it because all I wanted to do was go to Epcot because Epcot was the bomb.com. This was before Hollywood Studios had opened.
Right. So it was just Magic Kingdom and Epcot, which that's when my brother and I came with my dad and stepmom. It was the same thing.
Right.
And so I do, the one thing I remember about that trip, I know we're not talking about those trips, but the one thing I remember about that trip was every day we'd have lunch and we would come back to the hotel and we would swim in the pool at the hotel until the 3 o'clock rainstorms. And then we'd go up to the hotel room and my brother and I would take naps. And then we'd get up and we'd go have dinner and we'd go see the fireworks at Magic Kingdom. Right. And I think our last full day, my brother and I were done. We were exhausted. Our parents couldn't wake us up for dinner. We didn't want to go see fireworks. Like, they thought it was really funny because we wanted to sleep. We probably slept like 15 hours.
Wow.
But okay, so here we are, fast forward, end of 2006. We're going to get passes. And we lived about an hour and a half away.
Right. So we get the passes, and we went midweek because of what I was doing and what Sid was doing at the time. We had some flexibility with our days, so we went midweek. But we went. I remember we went like later in the afternoon. We talked about this beforehand, and our times were a little off. But I know that we went, in the afternoon, and we went to Epcot first.
We only went to Epcot that day.
Only went to Epcot that day.
And our friend came with us.
Right.
So it was going to be him and his wife were going to join us. And something happened. And she wasn't able to get the day off or whatever. So he just came.
Right.
And we went. Okay, so what is your biggest memory of that day?
My biggest memory was we had walked around towards World Showcase. And I think we parked somewhere between Germany and America. And it was back when they used to have picnic tables. And we sat down. Oh, it might have been Italy in America. Sorry, I forgot.
We were actually really close to China.
Were we?
Well, and this is why I say we were really close to China because, so we did. We found a picnic table. And it was back when they had them just periodically around. And our friend, can I say his name?
Yeah.
Okay, our friend Tony.
Not my Tony.
Not his Tony, different Tony.
Different Tony. Other Tony.
Tony, first Tony, ex-Tony. Tony was just so excited to show us everything. But we found this picnic table that a family had taken up the side closest to the water, to the lagoon, and the other side of the table was completely open. And Tony's like, oh my gosh, this never happens. We need to save these seats. And he was so excited. And we're like, what? We don't get it.
So we'd asked his family, weren't they from like Wisconsin or Minnesota?
They were from somewhere up north, Midwest. They were very, very nice. And pretty much the mom and myself did the same thing. And we just planted. Right. So we held our space for our families. And she and I chatted for hours while John and Tony ran around the World Showplace.
Well, I mean, we had to park because he wanted us to see the fireworks show. And I'm thinking, I've seen fireworks. I don't get it. But what happened was
and these people are listening, and they're going, "Oh, that's so cute, John.
That's so cute.
Park hopper, John. You're so cute."
But what we were doing was we were parking at the table, so two of us would go get food and walk around a little bit, and because Tony and I work together, we were kind of working out some stuff that was going on at work. So we would kind of go away, and we went away and wound up being like for a long time.
Or they'd come back and they'd bring me a soda or,
food.
Here's a bite of something.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot of food that made it back to the table. I will say that because that was kind of my push at one point. Is I'm like, all right, wait. I know you guys are having a great time. And sometimes they'd come back and they'd want to sit and chat. So I would walk around a little bit by myself, but not too far.
Right.
So I finally insisted that Tony stayed there.
Right.
And you and I went. And we went to China. And we did the little walk up at China. And I think we got egg rolls.
And plum wine.
And plum wine. He really remembers the plum wine.
Plum wine was amazing.
And so we walked around, and then we went back. And by that point, the other family had come back. And we're all sitting there and chatting. And then we hear this announcement.
Yeah. And
can you do the announcement?
I can't remember all the words because it's been too long, but it was like, it was reflections. It was illuminations, reflections of Earth. And then all the fire sticks around the lake went out.
The torches, yeah.
And I'm like, that was cool. And just pausing the story, both Sid and I come from the AV world. So putting a production on, putting a show on, that kind of stuff was something very familiar to us. So lighting, sound,
fog machines, lasers,
all that stuff was like in our blood. So we had no idea what we were about to witness.
I mean, and even at that point, it was almost old technology having, I know. Can you believe it, Blue?
Our bulldog's like, seriously?
You people are nuts.
Sorry.
So, this LED globe that opened up, and we're like, ugh. And so to this day, I think that is still our favorite show because it just touches a place in our heart.
Yeah. So we sat there, and then the tiki torches or the torches went out, and then
Tiki torches.
Sorry, it's popped out.
Torches.
And then the show started, and I just remember that music, and I'm a music person, so that music hit me for the first time, and I can listen to the first song of Illuminations, and it still gets me every time. And it just was awesome. And the pyro going off in time with the music. And
now, near the end of the show, I did remember looking around because I can't stay focused. I have to see what's going on. I came from stage management, production world, where, the show was great, but you have to be aware of everything.
Right.
People started leaving. We're like, what's
Where
going on? Why are people leaving?
What do they know that we don't know?
They knew that it was a pain in the tushy to get out of the parking lot.
Yes, it was.
At the end. So, and they'd seen the end of Illuminations, probably 150 times each.
We belong. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, it was like the We Belong music started, and 10% of the people just headed for the gates.
Yeah. Deuces.
So we finished, and we kind of walked around a little bit, and we moseyed out of the park. We were in awe.
But we were also giddy.
Oh, yes.
I had not...
Well, the plum wine didn't hurt.
No, it didn't. Well, the plum wine and the beer and the bratwurst and the other beer and the other stuff that we had that night.
Like I told you, he had a better night than I did.
Sid and I specifically were just really giddy. And the whole ride home, we were just talking about, so what is this? So talk to me about the Magic Kingdom, and how does Walt Disney play into all this?
Oh my
and
gosh,
because I remember watching Disneyland when I was a kid, and it's like, yeah, but this is different than Disneyland. I'm like, was Walt ever here? And he's like, no.
But wait, where's the river in front of the castle?
Where's all that? Where's this? Where's that? So we got home, and I remember we'd picked Tony up, so we dropped them off. The whole ride home, we're just talking like, what did we just see? And
I think it was a Friday. I think we went on a Friday because we very easily said, we're going to go the next day, whatever it was.
Yeah. So we were like, we're going to go get up in the morning and go. And we had a window. We had like a 10 or 11 hour window because of the dog. So we knew that we had a block of time that we could go and enjoy it. But we didn't know about rope drop.
One dog. We only had one dog then.
So we didn't know about rope drop. But we went pretty early to the Magic Kingdom, and the trolley and the fire engine and the dancing and the singing.
The Dapper Dans.
The Dapper Dans were there.
Oh my gosh. To watch it, I don't know if you can remember the first time you walked onto Main Street, if you didn't know, and we didn't know. You didn't research this stuff. There weren't podcasts. I don't even think Lou had started yet. There just wasn't.
He had, but we just hadn't discovered him yet.
Okay, well, what's a podcast at that point?
Right.
And walking onto Main Street and the Dapper Dans, and it was just so much to see.
It's overwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a castle at the end of the street.
There's a castle, and there was shopping, and we're like, holy cow, they put a Mickey on everything.
Yeah, and then I think for the first time, the smell of corn dog nuggets hit me.
And popcorn.
And so we walked in, and we rode all the main rides except for like 2 or 3. We rode Pirates.
Yes.
Fell in love with Pirates. We rode Haunted Mansion. I knew a little bit about Haunted Mansion, but once I was in there, I was hooked.
I made him ride the teacups.
Haunted Mansion t-shirt.
Haunted Mansion. I made you ride the teacups.
Teacups were great.
I made him ride It's a Small World because that was like the only thing I knew that you had to do It's a Small World.
Right.
I did remember going, wait, there was something about a carousel. Is this that carousel? And we thought that was the carousel. That was not the carousel. And there's these statues around. We're like, who is this guy sitting on a bench with Minnie Mouse?
Right.
And walked up to the partner statue and was like,
oh,
that's Walt Disney.
Yeah,
like we had to read a plaque to recognize Walt Disney. We were those people. Okay, forgive us.
And then at one point we were in what we didn't know then was the hub, and this music started playing, and all these people ran out on the forecourt stage and did a show with Mickey Mouse, and all these characters were like, "What in the world is this?" I mean, it was literally that scene from Nightmare Before Christmas. What's this? What's this? What's this? Da-da-da-da. We were just crazy, and we literally turned into 4-year-olds running around.
6-year-olds.
And we had a blast, and that was the day that we fell in love with Disney, and we decided, and here's kind of towards wrapping this up a little bit. We decided to do one thing, and we only broke this rule a couple times. It
wasn't even at this point. I think it was.
I thought it was pretty quick.
It was soon. So he had a lot of stress at his work, and we were coming up on the recession. So it sort of started. It hadn't hit its peak.
Right.
And so I was having a little trouble at my work, and I actually want to say it was after our first wedding anniversary, we came up with this rule. And anytime that we would go to Disney and we would cross under the sign.
Under the archway.
Yes.
That's what we called it. We
called it an archway, but it was under the sign that welcomes you to Disney World. It was going under the archway, and we would throw out every bad thing. I'm frustrated with my job. The dog peed on the floor. Somebody broke something at work. Blah, 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 blah. We would throw it all out, and then we would only talk about positive things.
Right. Once we got under the archway, we didn't talk about money. We didn't talk about real life. We just talked about us, the future, and we literally... We just became kids playing in a big park, and I say this all the time, we never played with each other's butts near as much as we played when we were at Disney.
We normally say touched, but he would hold my hand, he'd put his hand in my pocket. Yeah, I mean, sweetly, innocently, all of that. But you kind of left the real world and the negative world and the bad things behind. And it wasn't like we were trying to ignore them. We just wanted a quick little escape.
Right.
In the first year of our marriage, we moved twice. My mom passed away.
Job change
for me twice.
Right.
Job change for you coming down here. There was a little bit of money stress, but I mean, between the moving, the parent passes away, we got married. It was all the stressors that, we had most of them. I think everything except death of a child or death of a spouse.
Right.
So we had a lot of stress, and we found that Disney was therapy.
Right. Absolutely. And then we discovered the Finding Nemo show. and from two people who are AV geeks, we lost our minds. So that's kind of in a nutshell. I mean, we could talk about this for hours, but it's a short podcast.
Wait, and my other thing, like if I have a really, really bad day and I'm just like, I need something. Animals have always been my thing. I've grown up with cats, and Mary John, there were dogs, neighborhood animals. So going up to the conservation station and playing with goats and sheep and whatever else is up there is really just, it's therapy for me. I will go sit on the ground and play with a sheep for an hour, and John always finds that so funny, but I take my little nephew up there.
Yeah. So that's kind of in a nutshell how we fell in love with Disney.
Yeah.
And we would like to know how you fell in love with Disney. So you can either leave us a comment if you want to shoot a quick video and put it up there on Facebook.
Oh, we would love the video.
I would love a video to see that. We want to know how you fell in love with Walt Disney World, or if you're a Disneyland person, we would love to know how you fell in love with Disneyland. We did go to make the pilgrimage. The first time we went to Disneyland, I cried for the first hour I was in the park.
It took us like 3 hours to get there from where we were staying.
Yeah, I cried because there was Walt's apartment and the fire station and all that good stuff. So we want to know your story. So leave us a comment. And if you want, follow us all over the internet at Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at WDW Park Hoppers. So we want to make sure you come find us over at wdwparkhoppers.com. 4 parks, 1 world.
And everything in between.